All right, and now I want to bring out our next rock star, and that's Ravi Vilhal. Ravi is an immersive cinema pioneer. He's produced more than a dozen Hollywood and global immersive VR and volumetric projects, including Spider-Man, Grease, First Man, and Dunkart in virtual reality. And he also just won an award, right, at DEG.
Yep.
And he is going to help us talk about this and the role that Intel has had and how he has this unique partnership with AR. So first, I just want to say I got to see Musk the other day, and I was just totally blown away. Okay, and it is definitely a sensory cinematic experience. So you might think, oh, it's just VR, but it's not just VR. It's you sit in a positron chair, and you're taken through this amazing 37-minute experience. And all I can tell you, because I've seen a lot of stuff, is it's all your senses at once. And you walk away going, that's what this is supposed to be like. Because you're watching this narrative and you're plunged into it. And look, I've been hearing about this for a couple of years now because we talked about it last year. And also because I'm pals with Ravi, who sends me the strongest coffee a human being could ever drink. But it was so amazing to actually watch it because the chair, kind of forces you through this narrative, and then there's scent. So, and I'm not going to use scent-o-vision as a way to describe it because that's like a tacky concept. It's just beautiful and subtle and amazing. So I wonder if you could talk to us a little bit about the journey with Musk.
Thank you. First of all those awards for music. In this is my first project directing, first project VR, first project sensory experience. It all started when casually I was speaking to my wife Sarah, and she loves scent, and she's got around 300. They need to go to the bathroom and need to be very careful as they'll knock around 30 of. So we just jamming, and this whole story came in. And by the time VR had come in, and we thought, okay, let's do this, let's produce this. And we did a mock-up shooting in Chennai, and it worked. And then we casted Nora, and we went to Rome and did all this stuff. Intel came in. So when I was toying, I was doing something for the Intel Curie for my concerts, and one of the gentlemen, Narayan, I told him, I heard this concept, so Intel loves all this kind of thing, so he connected me to Ravi. Ravi has been like a great mentor for this. He led us to many things. And coming from India, we always think about, Hindi films and the word Bollywood, which I don't like, and Tamil and all this stuff. And I always felt like, why should we only think about India? And why have this talent serve the world? And the things which we can offer as an international filmmaker or international sensibility, all that came together. Initially, I was so naive that I thought I could take this camera, John, and film this and release in 2 months on a platform, on Steam or something. But it took 6 years for us.
And that's because the technology kept changing too, right? So you had to do some reshooting at some points.
The technology didn't change, but we were naive to think that you film it with a John camera, you upload it on the cloud, and it's going to stitch. But the stitching was so terrible that we literally had to take. It's a 60-frame stereoscopic 24 different particles. It's a camera we need to stitch, and I had an amazing team with Sridhar, Rahman, Ashram.
Did you have to, because you're coming at this from a composer, you're a composer, you've been a musician, so was it hard to make the transition to directing? And then most directors, VR is a whole different plunge. So you didn't start with the easy stuff, you went right into, a whole different platform. So talk a little bit about that experience, because most filmmakers have to learn VR, but that was your tool right away.
Good thing I didn't know anything about filmmaking. And I was involved in theatre with Andrew Lloyd Webber in London, Broadway, then Lord of the Rings in Canada, London. So theatre was very close to me, even though I was very introvert. Being in theatre helped me. I do live shows. When you compose a piece, you're actually telling a story. You start with a theme, then you go to the chorus, then you go to the bridge. You have to keep people engaged, and you have to come back to the theme. And so that, my mentor, Mani Ratnam, said, filmmaking is very similar to what you do. And that kept in my mind, and Shekhar Kapoor again, my friend, when he talks about stories, it makes it sound like it's very easy to do. And so I plunged into it thinking that I don't know anything about film, so I watched around 250 clips of VR and decided what not to do. So some of them are like monoscopic, some of them are terrible, some of them are low quality, and some of them move the camera, which is a disaster. When you move the camera, you're moving Earth, and people feel giddy and nauseatic, and then they take this off. So we went through every little thing and said what not to do, not to make them scared, because it's like you're so sensitive, you need to be so responsible for the viewer, what sound has to come in, what visual, stereoscopic, the IPD, and we have to tell a story.
Yeah. And that little thing called a story.
Yeah.
In fact, we have a video actually would like to show reaction from Cannes.
Oh yeah.
Let's
you
roll
took
the
this.
video number 1.
Yeah, you took this to Cannes, so this is people's
He's
reaction.
won 2 Oscars, 2 Grammys, Golden Globes, BAFTAs. It's a very long list. His latest project is a first. It's his directorial debut, a 37-minute film called Musk. And of course, it is groundbreaking, a 4D film combining smells and interactive seating. It's being played at the Cannes Film Festival in France. Have a look at this.
Was this blending of narrative and technology that put actual people right in front of you in a way where you intimately experience, in a way that we don't even experience people in real life.
The script, the set design, photography, everything is really well done. It reminds me why I love so much the cinema.
When you are in there, you feel like you're in the same room as the character. And
You're like, whoa, I'm here.
I really appreciated just all the specific details to really make it real, whether it was the music, how well the face was rendering, and just really being a part of the experience in a way that I don't think most folks have been able to accomplish yet.
I feel like it's designed to poke at certain feelings, intrigue, a feeling of danger, and it just felt like a full human experience, a full vulnerable, every single moment I didn't know what to expect or what I was going to feel, and ended up feeling something authentic.
Just like in Interstellar movies, but more real.
I can finally see a world that I'd like to see every day.
I'm very, very sure that humans cannot pull out something like this, because this is not just usage of camera, technology and other thing. It's literally much more than that. It's like somebody who felt it can only produce something like this.
That's phenomenal.
Gave me a sense of wonder.
Can I take this home?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the future of entertainment.
And it's a little bit of extra. It makes it so real. You quickly forget that you're here in Cannes. I was not here in Cannes.
It gave me a sense that even though I'm in this wheelchair, but that's only my body. It gave me a sense that I could be anywhere in the world doing anything without having restrictions.
Wow, it was amazing. It was the best thing that I saw like in VR. Is the concept, it's the sound, it's the movement, it's the chair. It's amazing.
The sound was really, really great, and it was composed really well.
Take off your headset. And the first thing you feel is disappointed if you come back to reality. Epic, phenomenal.
Emotion that you can feel are real.
That was ridiculous. What was that?
It was the best film I've ever seen at Cannes Film Festival.
I think this is my 6th time. I'll do it like a couple of
way more time.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
It's funny because Robbie said to me, okay, Lori, I know you're stressed from the festival. Just when you go watch this, you're going to feel so different. And you were so right, because I came out of it, and it's such a beautiful, stylized world that you've created, where you forget everything else, And then let's talk about the scent for a minute, because I knew for a while that this was going to happen, but at first, you don't totally notice it, and you notice it at certain moments, which I know is highly choreographed. Can you talk to us about that journey?
Yeah, initially, we had 2 Samsung cameras, the smaller ones, rigged to do stereoscopic, and when I saw the result, I said, why can't we just divide this 45 degrees and make different sets? And so the boys came up like, you don't have to do that. We just shoot in green screen, and I can put whatever you want. So I didn't know anything about green screen at the time, so so they would work on the references I would select, and they created this whole world, which is kind of a liquid. It keeps changing, and yet having this whole legacy of filmmaking in the 40s and 50s, especially the last video. Then I wanted a certain, because it's scent, and then Italy has got this history about scent. We went there because you keep the camera anywhere, and it's fantastic. You don't need to work hard, and so that worked great. We went to Florence, we went to the forest, and we did that one, and then we took a palace for rent, castle, and put 3 or 4 sets, the prayer room, and when you see it, you understand what it is. Mostly one place.
Yeah, it popped up in certain places. And I want to jump over to you too, Robbie, because...
I just want to continue one on scent. So first time I met, I said, there's a story on VR and we need to deliver scent. I started scratching my head. If I use Oculus or any headset that time, then I put that scent. It was not possible. So that's where this motion chip that we use, YJ platform from Positron, is a PC underneath that drives actually the scent. So there's also like a separate scent encoding track. So it's a lot of those, what I would say, all the senses comes together, except taste. So.
Well, and that's a good introduction to Intel's role for a minute, because obviously this scent thing didn't exist before. There's even a role on the credits, for a perfumer or whatever it was called.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys invented something during this process.
So what happened was I'm going to drop some names here. I was on a cruise with Paul Allen, and we had like Tarantino and all this.
You call him Paul?
And we miss him now. It's such a sweetheart. So, thank you. So, I was there, and then we were, I think, near Vietnam, and out of nowhere, Danny Boyle's daughter's name, Grace Boyle, comes in, and because I'd done something for the NGO or something, and I just said, hi, what are you doing? And then she said, oh, I'm working on a company called Feelies, and we deal with perfumes and scent for beer. Oh my God, this is exactly what I'm planning. And then I asked, how many scents are there? She said, 1. Can you multiply that? Can we have 6 scents? Or she said, yeah, there's a company. And so we got in touch with the company, we worked with the lab, and then we worked with the perfumer, and this was another 2 years in the process. We get the right scent and everything. Yeah.
It's so cool because it's not annoying. It's like beautiful.
It's a very subtle, and Grace Boyle, she's one of the world-renowned olfactory researchers. So this is coming from somebody who knows what they're doing.
And I didn't ever think that you'd say olfactory to me in our lives together.
I can say a lot of things.
So Robbie, tell us about Intel's role in this, because you guys have such a fantastic partnership. You're friends and you're also colleagues. And so you feed off each other. So talk to us a little bit about
So there's a lot of this thing. I mean, as an Intel, we have 5 decades of history and innovation, touch every human being, whether you use a PC or not. And when AR came to us and we wanted, literally I had no idea how to get this thing going, but it's a beautiful problem to solve. So rather than becoming complacent just because we have done, and we like to learn from a storyteller like him, and those are the projects that we have done. And this was a very unique challenge. It brings a lot of what we called 4 superpowers of competing together. And when delivered this, AR's team, actually close to 1 petabyte data has been generated.
1 petabyte. Did everybody hear that?
Yeah. So 500,000 frames were rendered. Every frame is a CG frame. It requires lots and lots of compute power, but there's also like a human behind it who is processing. And fortunately, some of AR's team is already here. So it was kind of like from the pre-production, production, post-production, and now the distribution, we were involved. And it's been an amazing journey. 2016 we started. That time I believe processor that we gave is a Kaby Lake. Now we are on 11, 12 generation and more. So this also like a progression of like a 6 year. Even Prisha is here, she was 11, now she's 17. So some gray hairs. Yeah.
So your daughter is a living, breathing example of how long.
I mean, I'm going to see it. It's coming.
And for you, have any directors or VR filmmakers called you up and said, "How did you do that?" or "Can you teach me?"
Don't do that.
Well, I'm going to throw a name again. So Christopher Nolan came to Mumbai, and there was I think for restoration, some kind of conference, and I told him over there. I said, "Oh, which camera did you use?" I said, "Oh, that's cool." Nolan was asking me which camera I use.
So you're going to be somebody that people are calling now. And Ravi, what were your hopes for people's reaction, coming from Intel's perspective?
So it's very touching to see, because technology is there, but it's so abstract. So, I mean, here, technology is there to drive the storytelling forward. It's not the other way around. And that's what makes this a very special. When he mentioned Nolan's name, when we were showing at NAB 2017, ERSA, Warner Brothers and Nolan's team actually came. And Matt Lewis, my friend, he tapped on me. Who is here, who did this one? I want to talk to him. And he pulled me out. Christopher Nolan would like to do Dunkirk in virtual reality. And it was within the 3 months, which we produced, we launched, and we showed the prelude at Cannes. So Cannes, we actually showed Dunkirk, because it's a very special movie from French people, and Lemma side by side. And that was the first time this VR chair was taken. And that gives us a confidence that this is a world-class cinema. Let's take this narrative forward.
Let's talk about the foreign part of this, because this is what's so interesting. And you mentioned you don't want Bollywood associated with this. I thought,
not in a bad way. I was thinking, why can't we do this? Why can't we think this was which only thinks, oh, I need to do a Tamil cinema, Telugu cinema. Why can't you think for the world?
Right, bigger.
Yeah, bigger. And also I felt like, sorry, go ahead. The world, I think, to humanize this whole thing, this music, terabytes and petabytes and all this stuff, and VR and shutter speed and this and that, people don't want to hear that. They just want to have an experience. And it's very easy to put this on a Quest or a HTC Vive, but then they will switch off the volume, there's no headphone, and it's important to give them the experience which they deserve. And to get that, and I feel like the future of this is, it's got a lot of psychological benefits, spiritual benefits, where you just tune in. Because when you watch a movie now, half the time you just, we're answering a text, we're putting a today's, the movie sucks, whatever. And we're doing constantly engaging in a duality, like parallelly with something else. So here, you're locked. You can't take it out, even if you can't drink or you can't eat anything. So I had a 75-minute cut actually. And I said, nobody's going to sit there, it will be a torture for them too. So I said, cut it guys. And Sriraj came in and said, sir, we worked on that scene for like 9 months. I said, I don't care.
I didn't want to be his family when he came home that night. That's great, because I just felt like watching it that it felt global and international to me, but not foreign. It was very approachable. It was different than me going to a foreign movie film or watching something in another language. It was very approachable. So I don't know how you did that. Like, you managed to make it feel global and different, but still very, I as an American who certainly in the last few years hasn't traveled a lot, but, I don't travel as much or I'm not exposed to as much global as you guys are with your traveling. It felt to me very approachable.
I think if you take philosophically or you talk about the earth now and the politics and everything, I think the main problems we have or misunderstandings we have because we don't understand certain culture. And I felt like this is a service to write a story where you celebrate friendship, you celebrate humanity. And it's very easy and boring when you say that, but when it's intertwined with the story, it really kind of beautifies things.
Yeah, it just works.
Yeah, even from the creator side, more than 10 VFX firms globally. I think there's close to 1,000 people work on this
Close to
movie.
1,000 people,
Yeah. So, and that's a global. And another thing, as a storyteller, we have responsibility. Richard Attenborough made a movie in Gandhi, and A.R.'s friend Shekhar Kapoor, he made directed movie on Queen Elizabeth here. So world is flat, and we need to just kind of like bring the storytellers, and there is no boundary here. So platforms are multiplying, but the borders are blurring, and this, I think, Lemmas to me is a personal experience, how we are kind of like bringing the world's storytellers together, having that great technology, and let their imagination fly. And that's our responsibility as a technologist.
Let's talk about the technology a little bit more. So we're dealing with the positron chair. And there's a lot of specifics about that. Like, I don't have one in my house, but you know what I'm saying? But
We can lift up, we can send one.
Okay. I like anything you send me, especially the very strong coffee. But is that going to hold back the distribution of a project like this, that I don't have a positron chair? Because it's so important to the story.
It is. So, yeah, I'm just thinking about this, and it's a boutique company, and we are working on something where we can mass manufacture this. So we can you tell about getting the IP from them?
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, I feel a lot of pain inside when I feel like I'm telling about this project to India or Europe or America, and then everybody wants to come and see it, and there's only 5 chairs. Yeah. So it's bottleneck. I think you feel frustrated sometimes. Oh my God, I need to see this. So I got Innovator's ticket, like I waited for 2 weeks. That was one person and 9 people for one experience. So I was thinking about all this stuff, and then that's why we waited for this. And in fact, by now we should have been manufacturing. Then my friend Shankar, he's helping me out to manufacture these chairs in India and Canada.
So get it more out there.
Yeah. So Laurie, just think again, almost like 150 years back, first cinema was made. If you look at it in Indian context, Dada Safarke made almost 110 years back. So when they made a movie, they used to take on like bullock cart or cycle or whatever the mechanism, and there was no projector, so there was no distribution.
Bullock cart is a nice idea.
Yeah.
It's just cost.
Yeah, we can fit one. In fact, so think of this, after 150 years, distribution challenges for the new platform or new format of the movie are the same. Yes, tomorrow we can release on online and everybody watch it, but as I mentioned, you want to give somebody a very surreal experience, as if you're disconnected from outside world and experience something that has never been felt before. It's not about watching, it's about experiencing.
But I can't imagine not seeing this without the chair and the scent and the headphones, all of those things added to it. To your point, sometimes I have found myself watching new release movies just on my iPhone.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want that to be this experience.
That's what happened.
Yeah. It's really tied into that. So we're gonna maybe ask if the audience has any questions. But are you thinking about your next VR project? What will you ever make a immersive cinema project or a sensory? Will you ever do one sense?
Yeah, I think we've learned so much in the 6 years. Learned about Unreal Engine and Meta and mixed reality and augmented reality, and then ultimately when it comes to humanity, like what does it do to your heart? What does it do to your spirit? It's not just, I have a tick mark, I've done this, I've seen that. But what can you achieve through this, which the normal thing can't, right? So my challenge to, this is my thing to my team, like we're not dealing with technology here, we're dealing with feel, we're dealing with healing the humanity. Like, first of all, I need to get healed. And when I sit, if I feel that it's healing me, I think the same thing would happen.
Right. Yeah, we talked about that earlier when Jeff Taylor was interviewing Elijah about being a filmmaker, an artist coming from the heart, and I think that's what you're talking about. That you have a story you need to tell, and the technology is part of your toolkits, so that whatever you do next, you're gonna either create new toolkits or reach out to them. Ravi, did you want to tell us about any of the pictures you were showing us?
Yeah, so that was our team from Cannes, so Nora Arnizetar and the entire team. In fact, half of our team is here in this room, so I just wanted to say thanks and show this. And know we are coming to a end, but can you just roll the last video?
More volume, please. Thank you. More volume.
Blood on your hands, the poison on my fan. I'm a lady with the gunfire, bang, bang, bang. 'Cause I'm the dynamite, you don't wanna fight. I go boom, boom, boom when I kiss you that night. Blood on your hands, the poison on my flame. I'm a lady with the gunfire. Bang, bang, bang. 'Cause I'm the dynamite. You don't wanna fight. I go boom, boom, boom when I kiss you that night. When I kiss you that night. When I kiss you that night. When I kiss you that night.
Watching that, I'm just remembering. I want to talk about the casting for a second, because the lead actress, you really see up close. Her skin is amazing. I mean, I went home and I just went home. I just cried. It's just, she's absolutely stunning, and the way that you get so close to her, it's part of the story. The way that you did that. You know, yes, the rest of us middle-aged broads felt bad about ourselves, but it was so beautiful. So did you think about that with the casting, that you were going to get really up close, that you were going to really, as part of the storytelling?
Yeah, we did a lot of experiments. We did 3-4 months of shooting and checking what really works and what's so different. And that the things which people told me in chorus, don't do, I did. Said, never do that in VR. Never do anything more than 5 minutes. Like we did the 37-minute one.
I know,
never
great.
do close up. Never do this, never do that. And I said, you don't know anything about VR, just come in. So I'm just going to take, like in music, the same thing. Whatever I feel is good for me, I give to people. I've taken the same formula. I said, this feels good to me, I'm going to do it. It's my money.
So, I want to close on that thought actually. I mean, if you look at the physics, anytime the object comes 3 feet in that space, you may start splitting. And here you can see her literally 2 inches close to us. And that itself, I think, like, you're on the Emmy, this is like an Emmy winning shot right there.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like in a level of caliber of how team this worked hard and got into this. But more on the spiritual side, I remember Al Pacino's quote, you can put camera on my face, but when you capture my soul, you got yourself a film or movie. And I think with that shot, that's kind of like a dimension this Lemas was able to explore and take it forward.
It is musical. I mean, the storytelling is musical, and I think that's because that's who you are. Now let's see if can we take some questions? Do you mind getting some questions from the audience? All right. Why don't you? Oh, yeah, you can ask. Go ahead.
Loss?
Yeah.
So
What
if
emotions? What emotions?
If you want to bring emotion back, what would that emotion be?
Yeah.
I think loss is something which we all feel very strongly. You know, when we miss something, especially when you're a child, that haunts us for the rest of the life, till we die. And that's what drives this whole thing.
The loss. Another question? Yeah.
Can you just speak loudly?
Yeah. I didn't know that about you.
No, the union rules don't permit all that. You're shooting it wrong. Yeah, no, it was done night, day, all. Yeah. So, I mean, the team was working out. Anytime I would set up a whole building where the Intel machines were crunching all this thing, and there would be 2 guys. No, this shot already. You want to?
The movie this afternoon is pretty amazing, and you choreographed your experiences in the movie through the movement and music and things like that. I have to ask if you storyboarded all these pieces. Did you say that I'm going to pan the camera this way and and that's when I'm going to move the chair, and then
Yeah.
that's when I'm going to do.
Yeah,
this.
we did a storyboard, and then we did a fake previs with dummies, just all people working with us, students. And one was actually literally keeping the camera on top of his stomach, which didn't work out. And we did all kind of crazy things. And we decided what works and what's decent, so just did that one.
So you did some traditional filmmaking techniques.
For expansion, you know, the two legs, and then through the leg you see this red figure.
Maybe that'll be called the Rahman in the future. Another question? Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Being a music legend, is it something you did different for this movie compared to the rest of the movies you worked with, or was
The
it-
music?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. This movie, if you look at this particular tune which she plays on the flute, and I don't want to like things, and there's a song actually. When I sent the script to Nora was like, "What is this?" And she didn't respond, and then my assistant kind of hacked a way into, and she met me at Nice. I was doing Gurinder Chadda's movie, and so I flew to Nice, and then I played the song to her. And she heard the song and said, "I'm in." So that's the last song which comes in. I think, yeah.
And again, it's from traditional filmmaking to VR, your mindset has to be changed. And one question was asked earlier, there's a lot of unlearning here to learn new things. And that is very especially important. Even I'm not a filmmaker at all, so when we started, I had no idea. What we knew, we had to forget and learn a lot of new things. And that was very important.
I just love the theme of the two of you together and of where you've taken this project too, because it's a theme that we keep hearing at the show today, just about that, you know, tech is an enabler, but it's story-led. And so you're leading through your tools, which is music and visual and scent and all these other things. All right, let's see if we can get another question. Yeah? Can we get the mic?
This is Sean from Wisdom, LA. Good to see you. I got the great privilege of seeing your project 3 years ago as you were in the middle of it. So congratulations on getting it out. And love to say we'd love to bring your project into the 360 Dome realm too. I know we've talked about that before, but congratulations on doing it. So nice to see it happening. So congratulations.
Thank you. Please watch it.
Yeah, I will. Thank you. I'd love to see the finished product. Thank you.
Again, so experience, if you want to watch it, we are doing some very limited private screening between today to November 5th. And from 6th onward, it will go on sale at 6565 Sunset Boulevard, just a couple of blocks from here.
Where can they get tickets?
Ticket, you just go to lemus.com and start purchasing ticket right now. And sir, how long is going to be here, this experience?
First 2 months, and then we're going to see, gauge it.
So again, the seats
how much love we're going to get.
Yeah. I mean, seats are limited, so might want to just get on and get experience. But some of lucky of you folks might be able to see it tomorrow or day after tomorrow. And I was really pleased that UT Austin student came today and really were, say hi to them actually. Yeah, look at those guys, very
students
smiling. Yeah.
We have a big student lab population here, and I'm so glad that you got them to come and see it. Well, I have another question for you. Just, do you see this being in, like, you know, we've heard for years about family entertainment centers where there'll be just chairs everywhere, and there'll be mass bookings of, you know, you'll see all these chairs moving in synchronization, or is this too special for that? You know,
No,
and I don't mean that in a bad way.
I think the ultimate goal is that to coexist with the movie industry, not compete with it, because it's totally different. There's certain things you can't do in this where, you know, like community, sitting with holding hands and laughing together, looking at each other, tweeting bad things. So
Yeah, I mean, it's also funny because I always get yelled at that I'm always on my phone, and I could not be on my phone during this.
Yeah. Only thing, you cannot eat popcorn while you're watching movies. So
we'll find a way.
Yeah, we'll find a way.
Yes, question?
Yeah, earlier you said that somebody told you that creative VR projects.
Can you repeat that question, please?
Earlier you mentioned that somebody said that you should make it only 5 minutes,
Yeah.
10 minutes.
Yeah.
Now you stretch it to 37 minutes. Do you think it is stretchable even more than that?
I didn't want to take a risk, even though I felt okay. Even if one person takes it out, it's a failure for me. So when people watch this, we ask them how long is it? They say 15 minutes. So they don't even know the time ran out. They watch 37 minutes, which is a good thing. So.
It's about the story that we.
Story and also being very careful about the technology. Global shutter, 60 frames, not moving the camera, high quality.
And it's just constantly interesting. It never gets,
So there is also like this time compression phenomena, because time and space is also like one of the senses called the secondary senses. So what happens? You're already there immersed. You're so immersed, you lose time and space, and that's why you feel like you're there only for 15 minutes. And I get motion sickness. So far, I think thousands of people we showed. I don't think any single person left without any motion sickness. They never experienced any motion sickness. And I think 80 to 90% of people, at least I showed, they were the first time VR film. They put the first time VR headset. And this is very pleasing for us. That means this technology has a potential. If the technology, this medium has a potential, if we use this technology responsibly. I think that was the humble attempt to show.
Well, let's take one more question. Yeah.
Life of? What's the question?
What was the question?
I don't know about that. We don't even know when.
The project itself, you mean? Can it just be watched whenever? Is that what you mean? It's not going to age out? Or?
Well, luckily, we got the best cameras and high quality stuff when we took it. So it was the highest that time, and it's still standing a testament. Like even after 6 years, it looks good. And we also added a 12K version of close-ups. We reshot some of the stuff. So the mix of both of them actually kind of not make you think about that. So, and the music and the smell. So it's the quality of the VR cameras is just one part of it. There are many other things in this one.
So normally a film is, we watch films 80 years, 90 years.
Yeah. I think there's just one breakthrough we're waiting for. I don't want to mention what breakthrough that'd be. If that comes in, then it'll become like mobile phones, how mobile phones took over. And so I'm just waiting for that. Maybe it might happen next year.
Something that democratizes
the
experience and makes it a little bit more affordable or whatever. As an artist, I'm just curious, are you now changed? Like, is your brain now not only thinking about music, but are you thinking about VR and shots? I mean, has it changed for you, the amount of time you're spending on what you used to spend on?
I did two things. I wrote and produced a movie called 99 Songs. It's on Netflix. That took a lot of energy because it was directed by another person who was also very, very talented. But that really kind of exhausted me. But in this, it was like a picnic for me. We just took 12 days to shoot the main thing, and then made extra 4 or 5 days. The rest was all post-production. And of course, music sittings, I never felt like we're exhausting ourselves. So, in my opinion, I think I love doing VR, and because it's something which we understand because of the lessons we've learned in the past 6 years, my team. And right now we're doing something on meta and music, which all these learnings have helped so much for us.
And are you headed to the metaverse? Is AR headed
Again, I don't like this terminology.
Yeah.
I'm just, how do you humanize this stuff? How do you make, because some of the humans are trapped with talent in another kind of a look. I'm just thinking, how can you take the talent alone and put them in another enclosure? So that actually opens up so many possibilities.
So you'll call it whatever it's called, but you're exploring other environments.
In fact, Laurie, just look at the history also. When Infinity was created platform, VR was there. Then we explored like in all the different medias, AR, VR, XR, MR, and now like Metaverse. So last year when Mark Zuckerberg announced Metaverse, we had a first panel actually, I think the same week. And on that panel, somebody asked, what is Metaverse to me? I gave this answer. It's a transmedia Shangri-La where your social, in-person, physical, and digital experience coexist. So rather than like putting the boundaries around it, let's basically explore what it is mean for humanity and what it is mean to like drive the narrative forward. I think that's how I think it.
Shangri-La.
Shangri-La.
I like that.
Only if it exists.
I used to play this metaverse drinking game that if someone said metaverse, you took a shot. But I don't think anyone's going to say Shangri-La, so I like that. That's great. Did you guys want to wrap our conversation with any final thoughts?
And just thanks for coming. and go check out Lemons.
I just want to give credit to Mark's mom here. She watched all to a version. Wish she could have been here with us to experience it. But from I think like 6-year-old, 4-year-old, all the way to 93, Mark's mom actually, she watched it. So that gives us like like immense confidence that was our responsibility towards bring the media forward.
Yeah, she really loved it. She really loved it.
I just want to thank my whole team, all the people who are involved, every studio artist, media artist.
You guys want to stand up?
Radiant image.
You want to stand up, the team?
Yeah.
Anand.
Wave your hand.
Jeffrey
Please raise your hand.
Mithran, please stand up. Mehul. So he's the
There you are.
main key person behind Possible. Thank
Karthik.
you. Stand up. Shankar. He gave my first VR device.
Yeah.
Nikhil, Anand.
And Hashim is in Sri right now.
And Dina, we're going to partner with her.
Oh, great.
And Mrs. Rahman also.
Oh, great. Oh, my gosh. Yeah. Well, thank you, everybody who was involved in this beautiful project. I hope everyone in the audience gets to see it. And I can't thank you enough for coming back. And I hope you keep coming back and sharing all your great projects with us. And Ravi, you need to keep coming back too, and with all your awards that you're winning in technology.
Okay.
And I hope we get more. You come back with more awards for Musk the next time we see you guys.
I think you need to help a category in Oscar actually.
Yeah. I don't know anyone at the Oscars, but anyway. All right, everybody. I want to thank you for coming to our last session. Next up is the Art and Tech opening here at the Infinity Festival, and then later on at Lighthouse Immersive. So stick around, head outside, enjoy yourselves, and thanks again for finishing up day one at Infinity Festival 2022.
Thank you. Kevin. Yeah.
Festival 2022. Let me hear a big yay! Has everybody been having an amazing day? Are you excited for this last session? All right, you have the best interviewer today to interview A.R. Rahman and Ravi Bilhal. Guess who it is? Lori H. Schwartz. Say it. Lori H. Schwartz. All right, that's what I'm talking about. All right. So I need to read this because these guys have so many awards. So I have to read it because they're amazing. I'm going to bring out AR first, and then Ravi, and then we're going to get really into talking about this latest creation called Musk, which all of you are also going to have an opportunity to see, and Ravi's going to tell you all about that. But first, let me bring out AR. So he is a 2-time Oscar and Grammy-winning composer. He's the winner of 6 National Film Awards. There's actually 2 Grammys, 2 Academy Awards, a Golden Globe, a BAFTA, Filmfare Awards, and he's also been conferred from the Indian government with a Padma Bhushan, the nation's 3rd largest civilian award. And you probably all know the great music from Slumdog Millionaire. So let's bring out A.R. Rahman. I did get a chance to see a concert with AR at the Hollywood Bowl, and he's totally a rock star, so you totally deserve those sunglasses. All right, and now I want to bring out our next rock star, and that's Ravi Bilhal. Ravi is an immersive cinema pioneer. He's produced more than a dozen Hollywood and global immersive VR and volumetric projects, including Spider-Man, Grease, First Man, and Dunkart in virtual reality. And he also just won an award, right, at DEG. Yep. And he is going to help us talk about this and the role that Intel has had and how he has this unique partnership with AR. So first, I just want to say I got to see Musk the other day, and I was just totally blown away. Okay, and it is definitely a sensory cinematic experience. So you might think, oh, it's just VR, but it's not just VR. It's you sit in a positron chair, and you're taken through this amazing 37-minute experience. And all I can tell you, because I've seen a lot of stuff, is it's all your senses at once. And you walk away going, that's what this is supposed to be like. Because you're watching this narrative and you're plunged into it. And look, I've been hearing about this for a couple of years now because we talked about it last year. and also because I'm pals with Ravi, who sends me the strongest coffee a human being could ever drink. But it was so amazing to actually watch it because the chair, kind of forces you through this narrative, and then there's scent. So, and I'm not going to use scent-o-vision as a way to describe it because that's like a tacky concept. It's just beautiful and subtle and amazing. So I wonder if you could talk to us a little bit about the journey with Musk.
Thank you. First of all those awards were for music. In this, this is my first project directing, first project in VR, first project sensory experience. It all started when casually I was speaking to my wife, Sarah, and she loves scent, and she's got around 300. They need to go to the bathroom, they need to be very careful, otherwise they'll knock around 30 of. So we just jamming, and this whole story came in. And by the time VR had come in, and we thought, okay, let's do this, let's produce this. And we did a mock-up shooting in Chennai, and it worked. And then we casted Nora, and we went to Rome and did all this stuff. Intel came in. So when I was toying, I was doing something for the Intel Curie for my concerts, and one of the gentlemen, Narayan, I told him, I heard this concept, so Intel loves all this kind of thing, so he connected me to Ravi. Ravi has been like a great mentor for this. He led us to many things. And coming from India, we always think about, Hindi films and the word Bollywood, which I don't like, and Tamil and all this stuff. And I always felt like, why should we only think about India? And why have this talent serve the world? And the things which we can offer as an international filmmaker or international sensibility, all that came together. Initially, I was so naive that I thought I could take this camera, John, and film this and release in 2 months on a platform, on Steam or something. But it took 6 years for us.
And that's because the technology kept changing too, right? So you had to do some reshooting at some points?
The technology didn't change, but we were naive to think that, you film it with a John camera, you upload it on the cloud, and it's going to stitch. But the stitching was so terrible that we literally had to take, it's a 60-frame stereoscopic 24 particles camera we need to stitch. And I had an amazing team with Sridhar, Rahman, and Ashton.
Did you have to, because you're coming at this from a composer, you're a composer, you've been a musician, so was it hard to make the transition to directing? And then most directors, VR is a whole different plunge. So you didn't start with the easy stuff, you went right into, a whole different platform. So talk a little bit about that experience, because most filmmakers have to learn VR, but that was your tool right away.
Good thing I didn't know anything about filmmaking. And I was involved in theatre, with Andrew Lloyd Webber in London, Broadway, then Lord of the Rings in Canada, London. So theatre was very close to me, even though I was very introvert. Being in theatre helped me. I do live shows. When you compose a piece, you're actually telling a story. You start with a theme, then you go to the chorus, then you go to the bridge. You have to keep people engaged, and you have to come back to the theme. And so that, my mentor, Mani Ratnam, said, filmmaking is very similar to what you do. And that kept in my mind. And Shekhar Kapoor again, my friend, when he talks about stories, it makes it sound like it's very easy to do. And so I plunged into it thinking that I don't know anything about film, so I watched around 250 clips of VR and decided what not to do. So some of them are like monoscopic, some of them are terrible, some of them are low quality, and some of them move the camera, which is a disaster. When you move the camera, you're moving Earth, and people feel giddy and nauseatic, and then they take this off. So we went through every little thing and said what not to do, not to make them scared, because it's like you're so sensitive, we need to be so responsible for the viewer, what sound has to come in, what visual, stereoscopic, the IPD, and we have to tell a story.
And that little thing called a story.
In fact, we have a video actually would like to show reaction from Cannes.
Oh yeah.
Let's
you
roll
took
the
this.
video number 1.
Yeah, you took this to Cannes, so this is people's
He's
reaction.
won 2 Oscars, 2 Grammys, Golden Globes, BAFTAs. It's a very long list. His latest project is a first. It's his directorial debut, a 37-minute film called Musk. And of course, it is groundbreaking, a 4D film combining smells and interactive seating. It's been played at the Cannes Film Festival in France. Have a look at this.
There was this blending of narrative and technology that put actual people right in front of you in a way where you intimately experience, in a way that we don't even experience people in real life.
The script, the set design, photography, everything is really well done. It reminds me why I love so much the cinema.
When you are in there, you feel like you're in the same room as the character. And
You're like, whoa,
I'm
here.
I really appreciated just all the specific details to really make it real, whether it was the music, how well the face was rendering.